So you were in Vegas. So how was that being in Vegas for the first Super Bowl that was in Vegas? How was that?
Yeah, I left on Thursday on purpose. It is, I mean, every Super Bowl is a blank show, and this one was no different. I will say this about Las Vegas. It can envelop a Super Bowl probably better than any other city. I don't think that there were certainly some folks from Europe who were there who didn't realize that the Super Bowl was happening this week. Like it wasn't so omnipresent when they did the Super Bowl here in the Bay, or certainly in other markets across the country. Everything is the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl takes over the town. I would say that it did that, but you can't take over Vegas. So I do think that Vegas did a very, very good job in just taking on the game in the way that really only that city can do. It does big events really, really well, and it did that very, very well. That said, I'm not a Vegas guy naturally, and I was so ready to leave. It was the access that you can get Monday through Thursday of Super Bowl week is pretty special in terms of it's the NFL calling the shots. So the 49ers don't get to do their general, you can't talk to this guy, you can't talk to that guy thing. You get to talk to anybody you want for as long as you want, more or less. And that's incredible. You only get to do that once a year, and that's if you're lucky. So that was really great that we were able to do that. But it was like an hour outside of town. You're sitting on a bus all day. You're on the Strip. Everything was, we think stuff's expensive here in the Bay. Like, oh my God, Vegas prices during Super Bowl week. I've never been happier to get on a plane than I was to get on that plane on Thursday night after media availability. And while it kind of sucked not being in the stadium, and this was a personal choice, my editor's like, you need to be at the game. And I'm like, no, I don't. I've covered 4 of these before, and let me tell you, I'm going to be able to actually hit deadline if we're sitting at home. If I'm at the game and the internet doesn't work and I have the space of a Spirit Airlines flight and I'm having to feel the emotional resonance of the stadium, like, we're not hitting deadline. And so it's going to be a real issue. It kind of sucked not being able to see the safeties. It was certainly a great game from a neutral perspective, so it kind of sucks not being there. But the trade-off was that I wasn't in Las Vegas for 3 days with nothing to do, and that sounds like a personal hell to me, so I'm glad that I avoided that. And I don't think anything weird's going to happen. I think the Solaire thing was a pretty clear indication of that. Farhan has said time and time again that they really like their pitching depth. I mean, my biggest question with this team is how the hell are they going to get 1,400 innings pitching? And I kind of, when you view Hicks from that landscape, you kind of like the move more. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen with Jordan Hicks? He's a good setup guy. Well, shit, give him, how much money does he need? Best case scenario, he's a great starter. Middle ground, he's, kind of a guy that you can use for 3 or 4 innings. Is any of this worth what you're paying him? I mean, I guess if he's a starter, and if he's a premier setup guy, and everything in the middle, probably not. But, also, I don't care. Like, they're not bumping up against any salary caps or anything like that. They're not going to lower the price of beer because the Giants haven't spent as much money in free agency as they thought they would. So what the hell do we care? I don't dislike their offseason. But you will always feel wanting for more with this offseason because the Giants don't produce internally. The entire thing comes up empty because you don't have a foundation of young players that you can count on. So you're always augmenting just a bunch of old dudes who are there to sort of eat some innings and you're just constantly. Oh, you get Jung-Hoo Lee. Okay, well, they overpaid for him. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care if they overpaid for him. But, what is he supposed to do for this team? He's not going to hit any home runs. I know that people say that, he hit home runs in Korea. That's a much different ball game than trying to hit home runs at Oracle Park. I mean, if people, the cognitive dissonance of folks being like, well, Jorge Soler is going to have a much worse power output at Oracle Park than anywhere else, but somehow Jung-Hoo Lee is going to just be able to translate his Korean output, which was marginal at best, to Oracle Park. It's just like, how are those two things the same? they're not. It's cognitive dissonance, and I won't stand for it.
I have one last question for you. And this one actually comes from Jeff himself.
Cool. What's up, Jeff?
I said, hey, ask me a question, Jeff, that you want me to have for him. What the Warriors will do with Klay.
They will probably sign him to a short term. I'll tell you what they'll do with Klay. They will sign him to a contract that aligns him with Draymond Green's contract, almost in lockstep, at a price that is less than Draymond Green's contract, probably around $20 million a year. And they will just sort of eat it. That's what they'll do. What should they do?